it out there.
You are now rocking with Showing Love.
How you gonna get booed and you just won Best New Artist?
It was backlash from the East Coast, West Coast thing.
Yeah.
It was pretty brutal to just be in a room full of people that don't even
what
really,
you're listening
care
to right
about
now
what you do.
is
So what's up, Dre?
Pressure can either bust pipes or create a diamond, and what Andre said when he got on that microphone created a diamond.
Talk to him, Dre.
But it's like this, though. I'm tired of folks, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Them closed-minded folks, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like we got a demo tape and don't nobody want to hear it, but it's like this, the South got something to say. That's all I got to say.
Everybody was like this. With Showing Love. You're in the Showing Love mix. You are in the mix.
With the K-I-N-G, now your ring gon' peek and I flash when the cut is fresh, y'all.
What you just heard was a acceptance speech, or to some degree an acceptance speech from OUTKAST. So they, in 1995, they were at the Source Awards and they got an award for Newcomer Artist of the Year. So they stand up, Big Boi, Andre 3000, they stand up and their team follows along, Dungeon Family, Goody Mob, and people boo them. People are booing them for accepting an award for being the new artist of the year. And the reason that was is because, at the time, Southern hip hop, it wasn't as defined as it is now. So you have this group, you have this youthful group coming up there to accept this award, and people think they suck, they trash. Because at the time, in 94, 95, the dominance wasn't from the South. The dominance was from the East Coast, mainly from New York. You had a bunch of New York artists. You had Nas coming out. You had Biggie representing. You had Wu-Tang Clan. You had so many artists from New York that dominated the market. And then you had Tupac. You had the West Coast, and you had Dr. Dre, and you had Snoop Dogg. So that's where the dominance lies. So then you have a group like OUTKAST coming, and they're trying to tell you what's going on, and people didn't want to accept it. So I wanted to get into their first album before, giving background information. I really wanted to give an understanding on how they had to start and where they actually finished at. So that was the that was the introduction to OUTKAST. So of course, if you don't know, and I'm pretty sure I've just told you, this is going to be about OUTKAST and their first debut album, which was labeled Southernplayalisticadillacmuzik. That was released on LaFace Records back in 1994. But it's just crazy. It's crazy how hip-hop works out, and then you kind of just see the definition of who they become, or who they did become, 10 years after that. And the wayside or the fall-off of New York hip-hop and the upbringing of Southern hip-hop. So shout out to OUTKAST, I guess, for being a catalyst and, just a stepping stone for the South. But ultimately, let's get into the background of the record and the background of their debut album, Southernplayalisticadillacmuzik. So if you don't know who OUTKAST consists of two members. Those two members being Andre 3000, and then of course you got Big Boi. So they met each other. From what I read, they met each other in high school, and just like any other group, they started doing battles in the high school cafeteria, and they just ultimately wanted to be some musicians, man. It was something they had in them that they wanted to showcase, and ultimately they did. So they end up getting in contact with an individual by the name of Rico Wade, and just just recording songs in what they now call, or at the time called, the Dungeon, which that whole premise was an extension of Goody Mob, the Dungeon Family, and some of y'all may not know, and this is kind of like Future information. Future is actually Rico Wade's cousin. So he was the catalyst for the Dungeon Family. He was, that's where they recorded that's where they recorded their demos at. They actually ended up shopping them to LaFace Records. I think LaFace Records was owned by L.A. Reid and Babyface. I want to say so. And at the time, it was just mainly just, R&B acts on the label. And, OUTKAST was the first hip-hop artist signed to the label at the time. LaFace gave him a $15,000 advance, which ain't shit. $15,000 in the music industry ain't shit. But maybe $15,000 in '94 is a lot, especially for some young kids coming from where they come from and trying to display the talent that they had. So, signed to L.A. Reid, signed to LaFace Records, started working on the album. Good thing about it too is that LaFace actually signed Organized Noize and Rico Wade to production deals as well. So they were able to go on and not only produce for OUTKAST, but of course produce for so many other artists on the label, TLC to be exact. So let's show some love, of course, OUTKAST, and show some love to Organized Noize and those guys that made up Organized Noize, which I believe Sleepy Brown was in Organized Noize too. Rico Wade, and there was another individual. I have to look up his name. I'll probably say it sometime else in the video. But received a $15,000 advance, start working on the album in the dungeon. They recorded other places too, but the foundation is of course where they started from, which was the dungeon. What I was able to find was they also recorded at Dallas Austin's D.A.R.P studio. So I think Dallas Austin, I don't know too much about him. I know he was in the music industry. I know he had a really big name in the 90s. So, if there's an extension of the label to have that connection, and it makes sense to go record at somebody's studio that has, a solid understanding of what it takes to make a good album. So Dallas Austin Studios, Doppler Studios, and Purple Dragon Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. What I didn't know is on the album, there's what I didn't know is that they recorded 30 songs. Now, of course, 30 songs wasn't placed on the album, but what I do know for a fact is rolling over into their next album, you can hear some of those original songs being placed on the second album just from the difference in what they're saying, the cadence, and the beat production, right? So that's how it happens sometimes. Sometimes you don't use it the first time, try it the second time around, right? So the lead single off the album was Playas Ball. And they actually intended it to be like a Christmas song. I guess the promotion was, hey, let's make a song that people can understand. But the thing about the song was, they didn't make it like a typical song. So if you go listen to Playas Ball, every verse is really pinpointing their perception of what Christmas is to them in the hood. So, they tell you ain't no stocks. We don't have any stockings because we got no chimneys in the hood. But they tell you, listen, I made it another year, so I'm feeling good. Like, those are some of the things they telling you in the song so you can get an understanding of what the intention was. Now, it actually had great reception. It had great reception. It was the lead single. It did relatively well, so much so that Diddy actually produced the video for Playas Ball, something I had no idea at all before actually researching this. It's so crazy when you get into these albums and you see the backstory and you see what it takes and so many brains and so many hands in the pot just to make something that's successful, which is beautiful, and that's the biggest thing for me. So that's why I like to show love to artists, because I know the creative process is demanding, and I love it for what we see it as fans. So that's the beautiful thing about it. So Diddy actually, he helped direct and shoot the Playas Ball video. So, and then what that ended up doing is they actually became an opening act for Biggie back in '94. So that's the good thing. And then I think the single ended up selling 500,000 copies, and it became popular amongst college students. And then around that time too, it was Freaknik. So you got Freaknik, you got Playas Ball, you got Atlanta. It just was a melting pot of success for them with that single. And of course, I think it broke into the top 40, and it ended up doing a lot, right? Being certified gold, and it just created buzz for the album. So you go a year later, and the album was released in '94, April 26th to be exact. And you're creating all this buzz because the reception is this is a good song. I want to listen to what else these guys have to say. Now, unfortunately, the next two singles that were released didn't have the same, feel as Playas Ball did, which is unfortunate because I like Playas Ball. The other single was Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music. I like that one as a single. Get Up and Get Out. I like that as a single. I just don't think the timing of those songs matched with the era that it was in, and it was so new because it wasn't talking about what the New Yorkers was talking about. Yeah, they didn't do that well, which was unfortunate. And it goes back to the beginning of the video of what I started with, because I wanted to play that clip because it kind of segues to this point where it was so much inconsistency and so much like a public opinion and so many things that they did that was first. You know, when you first at something and you doing something that's not typical, people are not gonna like it. It happens like that every single time. People are not gonna like what you have to say. They don't care until it catches on to the masses, and then people become a fan of it. So something that I actually was able to look up is that when they were at the Source Awards, you know, there's so many other people in the industry that's there. I think Russell Simmons was in attendance, and he thought it was trash. He was like, who is these guys? I don't know what they're talking about. Like, I have no understanding of what you're talking about. Like, he said, and I quote from what I've read, and I'm not even sure what this means, so somebody can tell me what this means. He said he thought they were sucker MCs, like just people that, I guess a sucker MC is somebody that's trying to rap that can't really rap, and then they were backed by somebody with money. I don't know. Maybe that's like industry lingo. I don't know. But I'm like, damn, Russell, you call them sucker MCs? But long story short, he didn't realize that they were just, you know, like the next thing up. You know, he had to take what he said back because the next decade, the next 10 years for OUTKAST was way more incredible than some of the artists that he had on his label. So, unfortunately, Russell, you weren't right, brother. But I like Russell Simmons. He actually created Def Jam and some of the favorite artists that you like. So I'm not gonna shit on Russell. I'm not gonna shit on Russell. But it's OUTKAST. It's not, you know, it's OUTKAST. But he didn't know. He said it was just so different from what he was used to hearing, and he felt like they weren't hip hop, and he didn't understand their operation outside of the music that was made at the time. But eventually, what he said, they were expanding hip hop, and this album alone, I say it's a classic album, but I'm looking into it, and it's really not it wasn't a lot of blogs about it. It wasn't a lot of like, I couldn't get a lot of accolades. I couldn't see how many times they charted because it was re-released in '98. Maybe those numbers didn't match up with the time from '94. Like, I wasn't sure, and I'm like, damn, this is a good album. This is somebody's first album, which is usually a classic album, especially for a group like OUTKAST. And then I read that somebody thought that their first album was Aquemini. What the fuck? Why would you think that? Like, maybe it's me being a fan of OUTKAST, I don't know. But no, Aquemini was actually their third album. ATLiens was their second album. Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music was their first album. And then you got Stankonia and Love Below. They start getting into the 2000s, start acting. Listen, man, I don't know who thought that, but I'm here to tell you that's wrong. And if anybody else knew that, tell them that that's wrong too. Well, back to the story at hand, right? Let's get back to it. So Vibe magazine listed it as one of the 150 essential albums from '92 to 2007. Which, I mean, of course, I feel like it's an essential album. Like, if you went to like vinyls, you went to like actual placements of like music, you definitely should have this in the collection. Like, if you're a real music head, please go pick this up at your local record store. If you're a real music head, please go stream this up on the DSPs. Please go to Apple Music. Please go to Spotify. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please show some love to showing love. I gotta throw that in there. I feel like I haven't been doing it enough. I didn't even do it at the beginning. I am. It's all good. It's all good. Y'all show some love to showing love. Show some love to OUTKAST. Show some love to Omar Hughes. All right, back to it, man. So it did have a little bit of traction going forward, and people did end up realizing that it was a classic album. It just took some time, I guess, to evolve because it's OUTKAST. They were a unique group. To this day, they're a unique group, and they evolve every time they make an album. No album sounds like the one before, and it shouldn't. But sonically, and even the things that they talk about from album to album is different. The cadence is different. the look is different, the mannerisms are somewhat the same. Ultimately, they did grow, and I think that's the lovable factor for them, especially for me. You see the growth in what they do, and they go from being young adults, almost damn near, coming out of teenage age to evolving to, what you've seen at the end of their career, and even now, Andre 3K want to play the flute. Let that man play the flute. That's what he want to do, right? Some of my favorites on this album, right? And these are my personal favorites. I honestly feel like this is one of those albums you can just play from top to bottom. You don't have to skip one. You don't have to skip anything. I wouldn't suggest you skip it. Just let it play, right? If you're a smoker, let it play. If you're having a bad day, let it play. If you just feel like cracking the windows on a Chevrolet, let it play, please. But some of my favorites on this, my ultimate song of this album is Funky Ride. And it's just a chill ass song. It's just a chill song. It's just a chill song about just a woman riding with you. That's what it's about. And listen all the way to the end. It's very eventful at the end. But that's one of my favorite songs. Welcome to Atlanta. The interlude is one of my favorite songs. So basically what it is it's a airplane pilot, black airplane pilot to be exact, flying over in Atlanta, and he's pinpointing some of the major places in Atlanta. He's telling you about the Georgia Dome. He's pinpointing certain things that should be stood out if you're a tourist. And then he tends to fade out and let you know it's the home of motherfucking OUTKAST. And I'm just a fan of creative interludes. I'm a fan of those things. So the transition into the next song was just great for me. Listening to it is awesome. So that's actually a favorite for me. So the album comes in the back. If you can see it, it's just Big Boi and Andre with their, with the OUTKAST crown. So the thing about the album too, and I think that the album title signifies exactly what you listen to for the majority of the album. Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music. So of course they're telling you about the South consistently. A lot of it is about like women and pimping and being a player, being smooth, being jazzy. Cadillacs are really mentioned a lot throughout the album, especially by Big Boi. He's always been like this Cadillac guy. I guess he like Cadillacs, but once again, they giving you their approach from the South, right? This is what they grew up on, Cadillacs. And then of course it's an expression of music, so they're giving you, how they grew up. They're giving you exactly what they want to tell you, as if you've never been to the South, and then they paint that picture verbally for what's to be expected. So it's a great album. Like I always tell you, it's a great album. It's a great listen. It's a fan favorite of mine. It's a personal favorite of mine. Once again, go to your local record store and go pick this up. If you're not local to something, get it off the eBay, get it off the Amazon, get it off the Google. Please do that. Always, like, comment, subscribe. You're rocking with the one and only Omar Hughes here at Showing Love. Hopefully I did my just due to give y'all some information on an album you may not knew of, but now you know of. So now let's run those streams up and give it some credit. So listen to me. Show some love to Showing Love. You get an opportunity, show some more love. Make sure y'all out there doing what y'all gotta do. Be successful in what you're doing, and also listen to those albums. Good music takes you a long way, I promise you. It breaks so many emotions: happy, mad, sad, contemplating, love, romance. You can pick your poison for whatever you want to listen to, and it's gonna exert feeling, which is gracious and which is great, man. So I'm not gonna talk your heads off. This is Omar Hughes. This is Showing Love. This is Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I'm going to take y'all to Atlanta. I'm going to take y'all to Georgia, the Peach State. And till next time, man, Omar Hughes. Y'all show some love. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's do it.
Showing love. You're in the Showing Love. Yes. You are in the mix.